Okay, so today in the World Cup, we've had our first two goalless draws. We've had our first major upset. So the major upset was in the group that this game takes place in, was Argentina, Saudi Arabia, which has obviously finished 2-1 to the Saudis. Two fantastic goals by Saudi Arabia to win that game. And it's blown Group C completely wide open. Now, Mexico and Poland had an opportunity to take advantage of Argentina's poor start to the tournament. But let's not write Argentina off just yet, because in 1990 they lost to Cameroon, made it to the final. But Mexico and Poland obviously would have known about that result because the Denmark Tunisia game was the second game of the day, which was the other 0-0 draw, which was a better quality 0-0 draw than this one. More chances were created than the goalkeepers in that game, like Kashmir Schmeichel and his opposition, his rival goalie, pulled off a string of saves, both of them brilliant goal. This game had the intensity and the passion. The final third it was lacking. There's also the penalty and the penalty miss by Robert Lewandowski. And Guillermo Ochoa, he's in his fifth World Cup. When Mexico get to a World Cup, he plays and he's still as agile and athletic as ever. Has pulled off a brilliant penalty save. I wouldn't say it was a terrible penalty by Lewandowski, but you just knew that as the game went on, it was going to be a 0-0. It just felt like that because there was a lot of fouls, mostly from the Polish side of things, over in regards to the repeat fouling. I think there was a tactic was to be physical by Poland to disrupt Mexico's attacking intent, because Mexico looked better with the ball than Poland, and looked more threatening with the ball than Poland, and counter-attacked or built attacks more. They controlled possession a bit more. It was pass selection, and then after the penalty save, there was a period of about 15 minutes where the game just really drifted away. The first half, Mexico were far the better side. Second half, it was a bit more even. Poland upped their intensity a little bit. There was obviously the VAR check for the penalty, even though Mexico had gone down the other end after the coming together of the goalkeeper, Lewandowski, and the defender. They've been awarded a free kick for a foul. The Polish player's been booked for it, and then the VAR check comes in, and they go back for the penalty. In that regard, that might have put added pressure on Lewandowski, the amount of time that they were waiting for this VAR check and the penalty to be given. But Ochoa, I mean, he's a very under the radar goalkeeper because he has never really played at a big top Champions League level European club. He's played in the top flight in Europe in various leagues, famously in the French league for Ajaccio, I think Bastia as well, in Corsica. He has played, as I say, in the French league, and I think he's also played in Spain in La Liga. He's now back playing in Mexico. But you look at some of the saves he's pulled off in World Cup. I mean, this is a cult hero, really. This is a cult figure, not just for Mexican football, but World Cup football. Guillermo Ochoa. He's 37 now. He still looks as agile as a 27-year-old. He moved swiftly to his left, and it wasn't a terrible penalty. It was hit with a fair bit of pace. It was just slightly too low and too close to the goalkeeper. And a goalkeeper of Ochoa's shot-stopping ability, which we've seen in previous tournaments to great effect, is going to stop that. The atmosphere after that penalty save goes through the roof. And Mexico, they have a chance shortly afterwards that Szczesny pulls off a good save. But in reality, there weren't a lot of shots on target. Far less than Denmark-Tunisia. And I caught a little bit of the Denmark-Tunisia game. The intensity levels and the passion levels were there, the final third and the final pass. And then also there was a period in the second half where misplaced passes were going all over the place. Yes, it's the first game of the tournament and you don't want to lose. But it was a scrappy but entertaining 0-0 draw. I wouldn't say it's terrible. It wasn't a bad game. I think Mexico's slightly edgy on quality, possession and opportunities created. Openings created, I think, is a fair assessment. It felt more like a mid-season league game where both sides obviously want to stay unbeaten or don't want to concede. I wouldn't say they were afraid to win. It's just figuring out a way to score and win. But with Argentina slipping up and Saudi Arabia winning, Saudi Arabia in prime position not only to get out of the group, but to win the group. And it's going to be between three bigger nations, more historically successful nations in the global game, to fight over the other place in the group qualification to the second round. Um, the improvement is required. One thing I do know about Mexico, and it was mentioned in commentary, is they only scored 17 goals in 14 qualification games, and they finished third in their qualification section in CONCACAF, behind the US and the Canadians, which is poor by Mexico standards that they have finished that low down in their qualification section. And the lack of goal scoring in qualifying is I think a slight worry. The technical abilities there. They've got a willingness to move the ball at pace. But runs off the ball at pace as well, passing at pace, running at pace. They like keeping hold of possession, but it's not slow-paced possession. Is something I picked up from this game. They like to move the ball quickly, small little passing triangles, diagonal passes, crosses. However they keep possession, they like doing it at pace, and that can sometimes lead to misplaced passes when you pass too quickly. But they have got that positive intent. Poland a bit more workmanlike. Yes, got Robert Lewandowski. Um, and they're solid players, but Mexico had a bit more technicality about them and a little bit more guile. But I think Saudi Arabia could be sensing a bit of blood in the water in this group, because I do think Mexico and Poland are vulnerable. This Saudi team now has no fear. They've just beaten a stacked Argentina side. It's more than just Messi in that Argentina side. There's some world class players in that Argentina side, and they've just beaten them, and beaten them with room to spare. So for me, this group is now wide open. I did say that there will be some shocks in this World Cup, and we've had one, and we're only in day 3, so we'll see what happens. Quite frankly, we'll have to see how it all plays out. But we're only the 3rd day of the tournament. We've had a massive shock, and Group C is wide open. The final game of the day is the holders France versus Australia, who had to get through a playoff, which we covered on the channel to get here. And France are without Pogba, and France, in fact, the World Cup winners from I think all but one of the last every World Cup since 2002. From the previous tournament, have gone on to fail to get out of the group stage. Obviously, Germany 4 years ago failed to get out of the group in Russia. France obviously historically failed to get out of the group in 2002, losing that opening match to Senegal. So the holders of the tournament since the 2002 World Cup, 7 World Cups, I think 6 out of the last 7 World Cups have actually failed to get out of the group stage in the following tournament. So France look a bit vulnerable. They have some players out like Benzema and Pogba. Benzema, the Ballon d'Or winners, injured himself. Pogba's injured himself. So there's some key players for this French side missing, and they look vulnerable. This Australia side, I mean, look, they have played in Qatar in qualification matches in the past. They will be used to the conditions because they had that playoff match earlier in the year to get to this stage via the World Cup playoffs in the qualification section. So I think Australia could are not a bad team. They're not the team of the late 90s to the early 2000s, mind, which had some world class players in it at the time, with the Harry Keels and Yubidukas and such. But they could be awkward opposition for France. And France didn't have the best Euros either. So this French side are a bit middling at the moment. So it could be very, very interesting. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. Please place your thoughts in the comment section below, and I'll have some more content for you very, very soon.